Welcome back to some professional StarCraft to a best of 3 TVZ between two of the fastest players in the entire world. Let me first introduce your Zerg. Usually clocking in at about 600 actions per minute. We have Reynor, the Italian stallion. On the other side, whom he affectionately calls the Kid, despite, I think, this player being actually older than him. Either way, the Micromancer, the Frenchman, Team Liquid's Clem. Well known for getting more out of his units than almost anyone else, while still favoring that more Beyond style. Put your likes and subscribes together. YouTube keeps telling me to beg for that. In not so many words. They usually use fancier ones, but I'm here to bring you the StarCraft. This is from the AfreecaTV Theatre of Dreams. I actually missed this match some time ago. I know they've played again since then, but I'm going to take any opportunity to watch Reynor versus Clem. I mean, come on. So, I'm glad to be here, and I hope you are as well. And after we get all that floweriness out of the way, we see that it's a macro. It's a macro opener. Game 1, inside and out. Pretty close to your standard map. I don't know. It definitely doesn't tilt as far towards Terran or Zerg as some of the other maps in the pool. Like Cosmic Sapphire is so wide open with so much space for counterattacks and flanks that a lot of the time Zerg players will favor it. Maps like Waterfall and Stargazers with their short or close air layout. But inside and out, none of those. Those are different maps. Here we have just your usual. A choice of third. The first choice will be the northern base. A lot of Zerg players have that internal debate. Usually they land on taking the linear base here, because if you take the other third, suddenly both your main and your third base can be threatened by the same set of medevacs, which I don't think is necessarily going to be an unlikely sight with Clem here. Clem's Reaper. Oh my god, he gets 2 lings. He's not done. Okay, he's done. Jimmy, I can't follow the action like this. Yes. Alright. Thank you. Now, with that smooth camera, we can watch Clem micro his Reaper, but losing a little bit too much HP before the Queen comes out, is one of my long list of pet peeves. It's about midway down. Actually, it's closer to the bottom of the list. It's not a big pet peeve. It's barely there. Sometimes I'm not even reminded of it. But players, knowing the Queen's gonna come out, knowing they want to challenge the Creep Tumor, still sticking around and taking like half HP of damage. So Clem there not able to stop that first Creep Tumor, mostly because of that. He's looking at the second one. Reynor, oh come on, stop it, stop. The drama with just the first Creep Tumors between these two, and that's just a taste of what we're very likely to see in this best of 3. Yeah, the Reaper, it's here. Clem literally doesn't know what to do with all this APM. Both players well into the hundreds. This is the kind of stuff you can do once your build order. Like, a build order only takes like what, 200-300 APM? Psh, all right, that's just warm up. The rest can go into this pinpoint micro. Whether it's the Reaper versus the Creep Tumors, Hellions getting into position, taking a few stabs at the hatchery. A Banshee on the way, added to the list of micro-intensive units. Reynor sticking with his guns here. And by guns, I mean knitting needles. And by knitting needles, I mean queens. 3 queens at a time for his hatcheries here. I'm trying to find something. Wow, he's putting the Reaper in front because the Reaper will heal. Whereas, unfortunately, unlike the campaign, the Hellions will not. They're going to need repair. So, the Reaper, the most expendable HP in this army. If you're going to choose anything. For anyone else, pretty much, I'd say, is that really necessary? Is that something that's worth spending your time on? But I think a lot of things can be answered by it's Clem. So, Banshee heading north. Only 2 Zerglings have gone down, and those to that very first Reaper before speed was done. About as passive as it gets to start, stretching the limits of my time-filled potential, and there is no time warp to help. Or chrono boost, I guess. Would be more, either way. Baneling nest on the way, lair nearly completed. Only 1 gas, okay, 2 gas for Reynor. Getting that Baneling nest means pretty much just Baneling speed and a bunch of Banelings. That's really all he can afford as the lair finishes. No Evo chambers yet. The lair's done, but unfortunately the Overseer is not out yet, and that means a single queen sniped off. Another one uses the transfuse. That was just the expeditionary force. The main complement, the palace of queens coming together, the knitting crew, and we'll drive back the Banshees for now. Great scan catches all the creep tumors on the northern platform. Banshees darting towards the main. The queens will have to scamper back. Overseer in position. Cloak was already revealed, such as it is. Couple Evo chambers means that 1-1 is on the horizon as Reynor gets to 70 drones and then starts adding on gas. For those of you actually playing, take notes here. Reynor not until he's already at a 4th base and nearly 70 drones. Worrying about that gas. Wow. Clem wants it, but he can't believe that Reynor would leave that mineral line undefended. Little does he know, Reynor was relying on that for defense, as all he had were a handful of Zerglings. But having 10 Hellions alive is a much larger threat than trading them away for 15 drones or so. Especially at this stage when both players can replace workers at a rapid pace. Medevacs load up. Banshees will scout the way. Creep has been hacked back as best as Clem could. But with that many queens and that much APM, it's unlikely it's going to be a permanent situation. Banshees trying to find some drones. The queens strongly suggesting they leave. Yes, and don't come back, at least without repairing. The Marines, some support coming in from the Banshees, who might actually go down to the queens here if they get... Oh, Brenda! No! How is there no creep in this one spot? Oh my god. The worst. Absolutely. These Terrans. Sorry, blacked out for a second. The Banshees somehow manage to not only survive, but continue to be active on the map. The Overseer doesn't have the benefit of jet engines, so we'll have to float dutifully after the trajectory of the Banshees. And so far, 3 Marines to 18 Zerglings, 16 creep tumors. Rarely a stat pointed out, but at this stage, definitely relevant. 3 queens, Overlord, Hellbats being added in. He kept those Hellions alive, so those Hellbats could do their best work, which is dying so the Marines don't. Wow. Walled off. A bit of a, and this is a technical term, janky wall here. And, of course, not too much at the natural. Here comes Clem back with the Banshee. Something. Whoa, 9 SCVs to the first bit of Banes. But the pre-split army is closing in on the fort. Reynor has another hatchery. 20 SCVs down as he kind of locks those Zerglings in. He may lose some more as they close the distance on the tank. Scan to the high ground, spots all the Banelings here. Marines already microing back. Tanks in position. Hatchery down. Minimalist micro on the Marines means that the tanks are able to maximize their damage. And Reynor, he slides around the corner with a bunch of Banelings and goes back with none of them. Most of the Marines are still intact. Most of the Marines lost this game are on the other side. Unable to get the tank support, but 4 medevacs. And whatever Marines are left over, another round of Banelings. Even Clem might have to back off here. Transfuse keeps the queens alive. But a ridiculously efficient trade. Snipes off another, trades a few more Marines out. And let's take a look at the units lost. 2,000 more minerals and almost 1,000 more gas. Still superficial losses if they're able to maintain their economies. On both sides. Clem lost how many SCVs? 20 SCVs in that attack to the natural. but he's at 70, he's building 4 at a time. It was annoying, it was troublesome, but I think he's going to be happy with what he got done at that attack at the fort, as that was a lot of valuable units and a hatchery taken out for just some Marines and maybe a couple tanks. Clem did a janky but full wall at the 3rd base, but hasn't made any effort to wall off the small area at the natural choke. And that's once again going to cost him as the Lings and Banes get into the 3rd. He presses into the alternative fort for Reynor. That base with, well, very easy to get caught between a rock and a tank place. As that tank well tucked in, able to fire directly through this pillar. Some real complicated geometry on those Terran tanks. Another base excised. Reynor without nearly enough units to defend this comfortably. And against Terran, you're really one bad fight away from losing critical momentum. He cannot afford to just lose these units. But he can't keep losing hatcheries either. A Widowmine was underneath the tank. Bit of a spicy move there. Essentially impossible to spot. Oh, the Queens, not again! The one little bit of creep that they don't have. As things recede, Marine Stutter stepping in, targeting down more Queens. Reynor scrambling now. Knocked down 20 supply. A hive just now beginning at the natural. We're only 11.5 minutes in. It feels like a lot longer as these players are sprinting towards each other. Clem now at 81 SCVs. Nearly 200 supply. Whereas Reynor still quite far off. Oh, a big army, but not sieged up. A couple on the high ground. Banshee taken out. Tank target fire is on point. But meanwhile, on the right flank, again, Clem. Oh my. Reynor cannot, he's just trying to force a mistake out of Clem. And Clem is not making any. It's actually ridiculous, right? Another attack. Tries to target the Banes. Has to pick up and get out. He was thinking about going for it, but didn't quite land it in time. Oh my god, and he doesn't. There's not enough medevacs to get the Marines out, but he's able to get out of the creep, and he drops to the main. Reynor scrambles back. He has no direct anti-air. Clem tearing apart the defenses right now. 3 Vipers on the way, as Reynor scrambles to put together enough army supply to beat back even some of these smaller attacks. He's at 180 supply. Clem, looking the other way for a moment. Looks like Baneling's got a few Marines as well. This is the hardest part, laying down the finishing blow. It's only going to get more difficult with the Vipers out, but Ghosts are an option to crack open the defenses. Viper is spotted. A very important part of this, and I mean, Clem was already building Ghosts, but might double down on them. How many tanks? 9 tanks and counting. Going into double digits here. Reynor. Those Banelings. Picks up, dodges them, finds a spot in between the bases, gets a drone. Meanwhile, fighting on the other flank as well. Reynor does actually get some of those Marines, but this is a huge bio army. Clem maxed out. Where are the tanks? An incredibly deep tank line. One takes the wrong path and will suffer for it. But the rest, well, yanking them in. Gotta be careful with the Banelings. Blind and Cloud on the ones in the most vulnerable location. Is there a parasitic bomb? There is. Clem isn't microing. Finally gets it away. The medevac's not at the critical low HP quite yet, but the Hydras are starting to pick some more off, and the Viper control is on point for Reynor. Helps him break his way out of the tank line. And find some space, but there were still Marines in the main throughout this. A Widowmine scampering in. Lurker Den. The Ghosts have yet to be revealed. So Reynor went directly towards the Lurkers here. Well, not directly. He's taking his time doing it. But he is going towards the Lurkers. And not going to be happy to see Ghosts already on the field. Sometimes you can catch a Terran player before they're able to get that Academy online. It's not going to be this game. Clem, too wise to the situation. Clem of old I think might have gotten locked into that Beyond style Marine Marauder, where you just keep building Marine Marauder until it's very, very clearly not going to work anymore. And by that point, it's usually too late. But Clem of today already has ghosts out. He's not overextending. He's just playing whack-a-mole with all the valuable bases, the new economy, and not taking any fights that he can't at least trade well, if not win. It's really sticking out to me how patient he's being, despite the aggression. Like, he's letting Reynor have one base, but he's got 2, 3, comfortably mining right now. Yeah, the income lead over 1,500 overall in favor of Clem. And that's not all oh, the snipes. Don't know what that was, but it is no longer. Small drop, 1 queen. They can't transfuse off of creep. The Lings will deal with it, but the snipes yanks in a ghost or 2, but it looks like an EMP land. Split stim. It's a bit dicey and really slicey. Clem maybe jumping the gun a bit. And, the tank's getting too close as well. Creep up to the high ground. His economy is untouched. The key part here is if Clem holds this line, even if Reynor is able to keep the high ground, Clem's still mining. Like, there are still several minutes of economy left on all these bases before they even think about mining now. So, right now, Reynor, it's still on Reynor to restabilize this position. There's a lot of medevacs, every single lurker on burrows, which opens up a little more space. Reynor pushed back to his own hatchery. The tank is eviscerated, slowly dismantling. And Reynor at 69 rounds, a nice enough economy, but still not able to max out. The Lings and Banes, the Ghosts scrambling back. Only a single medevac here. The tank's not quite able to land the shots on the Banelings before the Ghosts are forced back into the mineral line. Oh my god! The Ghosts are still jammed in here. Snipes looking good. The planetary holds. Oh no! He was so close to finally getting a real objective done, but the concave is disgusting here. Blinding Cloud helps. The medevacs are obscuring the fact there's almost nothing left for them to heal. EMP lands. The Vipers will angrily stare at the medevacs and strongly suggest they leave the premises. But Reynor will hold. He's gonna go ahead and oh god, the lurkers having a real tough time, and Reynor is getting whittled down. That planetary holding feels like it felt like a tipping point. Like either we go back to Reynor having some stability, or the planetary holds, and now Clem is much more quickly making his way towards the victory screen. Let me finish my sentence, please. Well, Clem is able to bring home game 1. Convincingly. We'll go to match 2 is on Waterfall. Up close and personal. I don't know. Reynor, it kind of just felt like it never... There were a few counterattacks, maybe. But it never really got going his way. And that means the Frenchman is off to a 1-game lead. Heading into game 2, like, subscribe. Say, Winter, all these EVTs, they're amazing, they're incredible. I don't care when the tournament was, I want you to cast every one of them. And, oh, thank you. Thank you. Glad you enjoy. Hope I made your day a little bit better. And hopefully this game, well, we'll see something a little different out of Reynor. I can't, like, it doesn't feel like Clem made any mistakes. A lot of the time as Zerg, you feel like you're throwing things at a dartboard. You try to throw so many darts, they can't get out of the way. You look for something that sticks. And just nothing did. That awkward wall-off at the... we're going to call it the 3rd. Ended up actually working out for Clem as it funneled all the counterattacks into the natural, which is, of course, where the reinforcements are close to. That was a pretty textbook clinical match right there. Yeah, Terran players can, well, just never ever slip on your medevacs. Micro your Marines perfectly. Never slip on your macro. And know exactly where not to overextend. And if you just do those simple things, you'll win most of your TVZs. Put it in your notebook. We know you have one, Terrans. Okay. Command center first. Hatchery. Dramatic cadence. SCV. Reaper. The usual. Marine on the way behind. The usual push out of the base build. Wow. Yep, that's what they call it back home. Get out of here, Overlord. We don't like your kind around here. The only kind of spying we're gonna do is with map hacks on a command center. It costs 50 energy. It's not free. Okay. How many orbitals did Clem have at the end of last game? I don't think it was quite double digits. Alright, the Reaper. 1 leg. Reynor built 6 legs. Which is 2 more than your usual to deal with it. Still loses 2. So ends up back at that 4 count. Clem will not be able to challenge the first creep tumor, but keeping tabs on things at the bottom of the ramp. Alright, okay, so Clem's doing the mule thing. It's this month's opportunity to point out why you're doing that. So, mules do mine quicker on closer patches. They have slightly less distance to travel. This adds up over time as the mule mines. But what happens is if you mine from those close patches, you mine the minerals before the last trip, and then the mule dies with those minerals and its graspers. Like whatever they have, the swan's arms, but they have both of them. I assume that's what the mule is. So, in order to avoid losing those minerals, players will pull the mule off before that last fateful trip. If you mine it on the farm minerals, it never actually finishes mining the minerals. That's the difference. It's like a 2-second difference of mining. So you don't actually get any more minerals. It's just to prevent losing those minerals. And is it important for you back at home, my Terran friend, with your notebook out? Put it down. Okay, stop. All right. You just got to check. At the end of the day, you have to check your notebook. You got to see, do you have a build for this situation? Now, it's not important the mule build, but another build? Fuck Protoss. Am I right? Like and subscribe. We got to fill the early game somehow. I've got a lot of build orders, most of them similar to that one, but Clem this time, a hellbat push, but a knee breaker build. The concussive flame. There's got to be, I'm sure someone can come up with a cool name for that one. The flaming quagmire. No. We'll leave this one up to the people. But 2 concussive shell marauders. Now, usually the counter to this is just a hefty number of queens and as many banelings as you can put together. And right now, Reynor, with 9 queens and counting, building some banes, slowing things down. The concussive is revealed. Great drone micro will at least keep the Hellions busy for now. 1. Well, there's a single medevac, but the queens have about as beautiful a concave as you could ever ask for. The banelings are coming up, but are they actually, well... I mean, he didn't lose the medevac. He killed 7 drones. And how much did he force out? Like, that would have been drones. Not enough to justify delaying that 3rd command center, I don't think. There's a Liberator coming in, the Hellbat. A little mining time lost. When casters say mining time lost, what that means is they're trying to make it sound good, like it was worth it. And about 90% of the time when you hear the reference of mining time lost, that means it wasn't worth it, but we'll pretend like he did something. Yeah. And that's what happened there. Reynor not losing too many drones, not losing too much of his larva into production, as the queens handled most of it. And Clem delayed his third command center and his additional Rex. So, overall, Reynor definitely gets some momentum. I wouldn't say a solid lead, but definitely a tenuous one. He's got a lair done. He's got Baneling. Oh, thank you. Baneling speed on the way. Liberator still trying to find something. Will actually find a pretty nasty angle here. There's no Spore Crawler yet. The Queen... Hey! Get out of here. Mining time lost. Liberator still intact. 66 drones. Adding a few more on. I thought he was going to do maybe like a 3-base Link Bane timing. But no, Reynor. Just making sure he's safe for now. Spreading the creep across the map, which takes like 4 seconds because the map is just that small. Clem continuing the meandering supply depot walls, but does look like he's going to wall off this third. Despite nothing, it's easy enough to put together a strong medevac push to follow up even a mediocre Hellbat timing, as the existence of those units, if any survive, just keeps... You're not worried about a big counterattack until Baneling speed, is what I'm getting at. And with no Baneling speed, it becomes all in for Reynor to try to counterattack. While the Queens might defend, unfortunately, despite their anger and vitriol, they're not going to come walking across the map and knocking on the front door anytime soon. So, even though Clem wasn't able to do much as a follow-up, he wasn't feeling particularly scared of a counterattack. Now, though, on the other hand, Reynor's going to have 83 drones. He's got 5 hatcheries. He's got 2 fourth bases. Probably choose one to focus more on. Clem, medevacs pretty much everywhere. Widow mines burrowing in the corner will easily hit any drones transferred otherwise. 2-2 on the way. Widow mine. Whoa, baited out with one. The other one slammed into. Needs detection to deal with the rest. Clem trying to clear up some of this creep. Does he not have energy for scan? He doesn't. Oh. I guess he needs those orbitals after all. Definitely wanted to scan the creep in this area, but he's felt obligated to drop the mules as well. I guess not. He doesn't have any mules. He's been scanning as much as he can, but that's another thing. If you force the queens out and you don't actually kill them with the Hellbat timing, you have nothing to push back the creep. And, of course, the queens are big on the big creep agenda. One of their favorite things to do in lieu of flying. Clem, though, pushing back the center. A few Hellbats in the mix. Widow mines behind. Drop on the left flank as well, but Reynor in a much more comfortable position than he was in the previous match. Still, though, he has 200 supply of Terran to contend with. Wait, where did the rest go? I thought he had 180. Guess a Baneling or 2 landed. On the left flank, Clem pushed back. Queen's still pretty spread out, so won't be recreeping there anytime soon. 2-2 is on the way, and there will be a slight advantage for Clem. About a minute, maybe a little under. Oh. The Banelings going across the river. And finally, Reynor. Not quite slithering across the Rubicon at the moment. And once he's able to comfortably, well, things will change dramatically for Clem, as being on the back foot with these units puts you one step from disaster. He's got a Ghost Academy on the way. He's secured his 4th. But it's Reynor who has the comfortable mid to late game economy this game, as opposed to Clem. Oh, well, Widow mines are making that a lot less comfortable. Darting down the right side. Hive is on the way. Lurker Den, but Ghosts already in production. Clem turning it around. Banelings crashing in. Oh, a hatchery. This hatchery is very important. Oh, no! The A move into the Marauders! And the surviving Marines. Clem was actually paying attention. He would have picked up those Marines if they got close, but instead sees Reynor with the relatively lazy A move into Marauders and ends up sniping a hatchery. Now Reynor feeling a little more desperate to get damage done on the opposite side. He's got his hive tech on the way, still trying to hold the edge of the creep, but it's constantly getting pushed back. Clem definitely taking a win with the kill on that base. Oh, the win! Oh my! Ghosts are on the field even before lurkers can be morphed. There are no lurker upgrades either. I don't know if they'll even try it with ghosts already gracing us with their presence. 4 ghosts at a time, Whittle Mines. Clem scampering in the Hydras and Banes, looking for an opportunity to get something done. The wall, the SCVs are pulled. The Banelings are just waiting for an opportunity. A bit awkward here. Will Clem be supply block? No. And he just finished a command center as well. But a huge amount of Hydra, Lings, and Banes over to the bottom right. The planetary itself is vulnerable. Target firing the Banelings, but the SCVs, oh, come on! What a save! As Clem, at the last second, in the planetary fortress micro, which almost sounds like a meme, but it is quite a real thing at taking out those Banelings. It one-shots them if you're able to land the hits. Just takes a while for it to whip its head around. The Queens trying to drive back the medevac. So despite all of this, Clem hasn't actually delayed the economy. Aside from that hatchery snipe, he hasn't done much to delay the economy. He's struggling to take another base himself. This command center's already bruised, trying to make a planetary under. Oh my god, the firing squad! The ghosts! Yeah, a lot of people forget. They have guns too. Their guns are they're higher DPS than a Stim Marine against Lings. And I don't know about against Banelings, because Banelings aren't light units, but ghosts have almost double the HP. Sometimes you just need to stand and fight. Those ghosts are not particularly vulnerable to Banelings. The only thing the Banelings do is overwhelm them and make it so they can't snipe off your more valuable backline. But here's a Whittle Minefield. The planetary is done. Clem pre-splitting, but there's just so many Banelings rolling in, he has to fall back. The planetary under fire. The surround is coming in, the Banelings crashing in the SCV's planetary goes down. He taps a few with the snipe on the way out. Marines, no, neither side really paying attention on to the north. Some drones will go down, targets the spore, works on the hatch. Reynor, just the Queens back at home, but the Queens may very well be enough with that medevac so badly bruised. Takes it out. Transfuse. Clem stutter stepping into the drones. Reynor has 90 more where that came from. Reynor still near 200 supply. Clem unable to put up that number. He's got a very ghost-heavy army, but Reynor has leaned heavily into the Banelings. Oh, watch out that Whittle Mine! It works both ways. The medevac's in full retreat, dying with all hands. Trying to unload, but the planetary itself, so many Banelings. Oh, ghosts blinded and then blasted by the Banes. The planetary itself obliterated. Gee, says Clem dramatically. Oh, and Reynor ties it up with overwhelming force, carrying the momentum from shutting down that Hellbat push all the way across the map. I mean, it definitely looked like Clem could claw it back. A lot closer game there. Clem almost finding the fights, but Reynor clamping down on those extraneous bases before Clem could regain his footing. And that means we're going to Game 3. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. What matches would you recommend? I do look at the recommendations in the comments. All your illustrious commentary. I hope you enjoy mine as well. But thank you for watching. I know there are some more recent and even more high-profile Clem versus Reynor matches, and I will be checking those out as soon as possible. I'll spoil it. DreamHack matches. We have to wait until after the main event until I can check those out. But just stay tuned. Just watch every video. You never know. With the titles nowadays, which one might be it. I'll take this time. If you haven't yet, you made it this far. Make sure to check out Nightmare Mode, the playthrough. Nightmare Mode difficulty on the second channel, Winter Gaming, where I play games. Sometimes StarCraft, sometimes not so much. But the Nightmare playthrough, you're already behind. At least a couple videos a day. Where, I'll put it this way, it wasn't a particularly quick run of the difficulty, but I actually really like Nightmare Mode because it feels fair. Most of the missions surprise me, but it's made by the real Rhyme, who is a competent StarCraft player as well. But it kind of struck me that it's very difficult, but it feels actually sometimes more fair than brutal difficulty. Because brutal difficulty is like, you need this counter unit, you need X to counter Y or Y to counter Z. But Nightmare Mode kind of adjusts some things, and the way it increases the difficulty is just kind of more units with better upgrades earlier and kind of stuff, as opposed to crazy mechanics like, I don't know, super banelings or something like that. And I really liked playing it. I won't spoil how many episodes there are, but if you're watching this video the day it comes out, don't worry, there's still plenty to go, while there are plenty to catch up on. Let's catch up on the Reaper on the other side. Nailed it. 2.5 minutes of time fill and self-promotion. And he gets a drone. Oh no. Disaster for Reynor. Mental and physical trauma all rolled into one. I cannot tell you how painful that is for a Zerg player. That's like waking up on the wrong side of a bed, trying to get out of bed, getting a leg cramp in your calf, and then like getting over it, and then stepping on a Lego. Oh no. Yeah, it's not a good start to the game there. It's not critical game-ending damage, but definitely going to be hard to get things. It sucks. It sucks, okay? You could have just started with that, but there's a very macro-oriented follow-up, and I wanted to fill even more time, so. It's 3cc into 111. It's the 3111. Reynor, on the other hand, would you believe it? He's getting speed. He's building queens. He's got a third. He's spreading creep. We need to just start recording some of these so I can play back my voice several weeks later when we see the exact same thing in the exact same matchup. I watched a bit of StarCraft in my day. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. But not one of this. Is that a Raven? He's building a Raven. The Twitch chat / YouTube comment level solution to creep. Except he's actually doing it. Every once in a while, somebody will try it. The Raven as an actual creep clearing mechanism. He started Cloak to try to convince the Overlord it's a Cloak Banshee. And against a Raven, Spore Crawlers are kind of irrelevant. So if he can force out either a quicker lair or some spores early from Reynor, I guess that's a win, but I don't know if Reynor's going to bite too hard on the fake cloak there. Is he actually going to do Raven, like, auto turret? What? Okay. Well, we'll see. Usually the Raven, so a good counter to Raven is queens. And if Zerg players hold off making queens in too high a number, then the Raven can definitely stick around and be useful. Unfortunately, queens are possibly the only unit that many Zergs build to any real extent for the first 5 minutes of the game. There are currently 9 queens on the field. He's building more. He's in double digits. Alright, mining time lost. Hellions. Does he have enough to actually kill the 4th? He goes for the creep tumors. Dealing with that creep, the highest priority. Zergling counter, though. Is that even a wall? Did he even... well, if he What? Okay, apparently it is, but already 8 SCVs? Oh, that was a great counter right there. I don't know why it sounds like I'm surprised, but Clem leaving his third base undefended, landing it early and paying the price for a bit of an overextension. Raven. Oh my god. Auto turret harass. Like it's TVP. Oh my god. Well, the bait and switch here. The auto turret distracted. He killed a whole lot of Zerg. 28 Zerglings have died. I think most of them in that roast there. But the Raven... looking for opportunities. I really want that Raven to rack up like 74 kills this game. I want that Raven to be a Raven of legend. I want Edgar Allan Poe to write a new poem about it. Something less depressing, maybe. Like the Raven was super cool and got all the girls in high school. And also was handsome and had a lot of energy for auto turret. And everybody loved him. Yeah, something like that. I was a poet and I didn't even become fully aware of it. Well, the queens, there's nothing here. Does he have any banelings? He doesn't have any banelings. Reynor has 85 drones, which means he doesn't have very many units, because 85 drones, it's 7.5 minutes. And remember, he lost some of them earlier. This tank push kind of blindsided him. Reynor's scrambling to defend. 1-1 is done for the Marines. Nope, just Marines. No Marauders. Without mainling speed, closing the distance on these tanks is going to be difficult. And without a fourth base, having 85 drones is something that doesn't really pay off. Those banelings trying to split against the tanks. The Ling's trying to get the wrap around, but Clem slips away. The tank is creating a wall. Oh my god. He walled off. This was the only time I've ever seen well, not the only time I've ever seen, but 95% of the time when a tank walls things in, it screws the Terran up. But in this case, the tank wall blocked out the Zerglings for the firing squad behind. And may have made the difference in this entire match. Wait, what happened to the Raven? Oh, still hanging out in the corner, being super cool. If they just put that Raven in the late game, they would have won regionals, okay? And nobody ever thinks of putting the Raven in, and they're all busy micro... Oh my god, Clem. He took a big win in this fight, and then almost threw it away by loading up into the only medevac a queen hit away. Whoa. The banelings? Oh my god. Almost, like, that was an insulting split. At first, it looked like he would load up. He's like, nah. Throws a couple Marines into the Banes. They dive on him. Oh, come on. This is disgusting. Okay, well... Alright, now the Raven comes in and ends the game. Oh my god. It's like one... Yeah, it doesn't repair. Oh, come on. Oh, comes in. And he gets out. The Raven's still doing damage. The real hero of this series. God. G. A singular G is attained. But that's all it takes. That and leaving the game as Reynor just run down at exactly 10 minutes. That Raven leading everything to victory. And Clem with a decisive win. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this match, and hopefully you enjoy this one as well. Jimmy, put it up. Thank you. Hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you for watching. Go check out Nightmare Mode as well. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.